Imagine you have a test in 3 weeks' time. You want to stay on top of things, so you decide to sit down and start studying. You take out your notes from the semester and begin the tedious and frankly boring process of trying to memorize everything you've written. For most people, this looks like rewriting and summarizing notes, highlighting key points, or even just reading your notes and watching your lectures over and over again until you feel like the information has sunk in. Research shows these study methods will probably not get you the best grade and would certainly not lead to long-term retention. Instead, you want to prioritize testing yourself. Repeated retrieval of knowledge via testing has superior benefits for long-term recall. This is known as the testing effect.
Numerous empirical studies have found evidence in support of the testing effect. In 2006, Rodega and Karpicki asked people to memorize a scientific passage. Participants either read the text 4 times, read the text 3 times and completed 1 recall test, or read the text once and completed 3 recall tests. After 5 minutes, those who have read the text 4 times with no recall test remembered the most. But after 1 week, those who completed the recall test 3 times remembered 50% more than those who read the text 4 times. It may seem counterintuitive, but prioritizing repeated testing over repeated study is better for long-term memory retention.
2 years later, Karpicki and Rodega published a similar paper testing participants' ability to memorize words of a foreign language. Half were tested on all words, and the other half were only tested on previously incorrect words. Initially, all groups performed the same. However, 1 week after training, participants who were repeatedly tested on the entire word list recalled significantly more words than participants who were tested on the reduced lists. Even when you have successfully learnt a concept once, continuing to be tested on this material benefits long-term retention.
Both of these studies demonstrate that the more times you attempt to retrieve something from your memory, the longer it remains accessible. Other studies have come to the same conclusion. In 2007, Paschler and colleagues found that adding extra testing trials with feedback improved memory more than adding extra learning trials.
It appears that repeatedly retrieving memories improves the ease at which they can be accessed. You can think of it as like walking through a tall grass field. If you follow the same path each time, the grass on that path will become flatter and easier to walk on. After a few times of walking through, you will have a very accessible path. The same can be said for our ability to retrieve learnt knowledge.
What does this mean for you? Well, if you want to study for an exam, prioritise testing. You can use similar protocols that were used in many of the memory studies. First, familiarise yourself with the material, whether that involves watching lectures or reading a textbook. Next, find your test. If you don't already have access to previous exam questions or practice questions, make your own by going through the PowerPoint presentations provided by your lecturers and turning the key concepts on each slide into questions. One tool you could also use is Quizlet, a free website that makes self-testing accessible and efficient. Once you've done this, do the test without looking at any notes. You should also mark your tests each time. As Butler and Rodega in 2008 showed, feedback is vital for correcting errors and gaps in your knowledge.
It seems only fair that we put the effect into action. Put your notes away and get ready to be tested on 3 questions about this video. In Rodega and Karpicki's study, how much more of a scientific passage did participants who were tested 3 times recall than participants who just read the passage 4 times? 50% more.
What real-life analogy was given to explain how actively retrieving information from your memory in a test improves long-term memory? Walking through a field of tall grass.
Why is feedback vital when using the testing effect? So that you can know where the gaps and the errors are in your knowledge.
No matter how well you did in this test, the very act of trying to retrieve the answers strengthen the pathways in your brain and will make it easier for you to answer these questions in the future. Thank you for watching.
And remember,
Test and you will do your best.